So in this video I am creating a wire hair pointer. Her name is Quinn and she is quite cute. Now her hair is a little bit crazy, so I was kind of excited to do this because, you know, I have never done one before and her hair is just so fuzzy and loony that I just love it. So I started basing out with my darker colors and creating that deep color within her eyes and around her cheeks. Now I continued throughout this doing the same techniques of basing out with different colors first and then going over top of with the light colors. And the paper that I'm using is Pastel Mat, and that makes it quite easy to do, is to layer on top with light colors and base out with the dark colors. I also am using Polychromos, and this is the first time that I'm using these, and it seems to do very well on this paper. I've used the Prismacolor and those seem to get eaten up a lot quicker on this paper, but the polys don't. If you want to learn how to create this wire hair pointer, become a member on my Patreon page, where I give you the list of supplies as well as a step-by-step instruction to completion. Here I will upload monthly tutorials and offer support and tips. You can also find me on Facebook under Corinne States Art, where you can see upcoming tutorials and follow contests that I give away to my fans. So in this, it was important to keep mindful of the hair itself, because sometimes your pencils, if they get blunt, you can get thicker hairs and it doesn't look quite right. It doesn't look wispy enough. So as long as you keep your pencil sharp and you take your time and not put a lot of pressure, then you will get nice thin hairs. And throughout this picture, it was very important to keep an eye on where my shadows were. The right side of her face was a lot darker than the left side because of how the light was shining. So I wanted to make sure that I gave it that feel and that I wanted to make sure that it looked like the picture. And when you're working with reference photos, which most artists do, you want to make sure that the reference is clear, that it's not real fuzzy, and sometimes you don't have control over that. Sometimes if you're doing commissions, you get, you know, the home photos where the dog has passed or the animal has passed and they don't have any other pictures, so you got to do your best and sort of make it up a little bit. But this one was a wonderful photo, so I was able to get all the lights and all the darks, and I was able to create a wonderful piece for the owner, and I was pretty happy about that. So if you've never created a long-haired dog, I would recommend to sit down and look at the values and the shades and the different parts of the dog before you start, and maybe get your pencils out and do swatches. And you also want to start with an accurate outline. If you start with an inaccurate outline, your dog or your animal, whatever your subject is, it will turn out to look not like the photo, but it will turn out to look maybe cartoony, or maybe just the proportions are way off. So definitely want to start with an accurate outline. Now there are several ways to get to that. You can always do freehand with the graphing method. A lot of artists use that, and when you start with a accurate outline, that will level up your drawing and you will be much more happier with the outcome. Now other methods are the tracing method, which I prefer, and then there's also the method where you can use a projector, and those are the ones that I know of. But the sooner you get your base outline together and accurate, the more realistic your portraits will become. So as you can see, I'm moving right along and starting to get a really nice feel for this dog's face, and she is turning out beautifully. Now I'm going back through and I'm touching up and adding the highlights and some midtones and even darkening up some areas, and I'm really excited about the way that this turned out. So don't let long-haired dogs intimidate you. They're quite fun with their crazy hair, because sometimes you have a lot of play as an artist with the hair. So don't let it scare you, but dig in and keep creating.